Welcome to the Loud Whisper Takeover podcast, where we talk about intuition and top tips for the creative industry. Today, we're going to talk about social media and marketing strategy with a special guest, Hanna Min Jung Herbertson. Hi, Hanna. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. I'm so happy to chat to you today. So, Hanna, you have a background living in different countries, having actually been through different careers. How would you describe what you're doing today in a nutshell?
I guess it's a melting pot of things I've done in my life. Like you said, I've done different things, lived in different places, different interests. What I'm doing, just put it in boxes: social media, marketing, consultant, manager, strategist. It's all these different expressions, but I'm kind of all in one because I've done everything in different aspects. I work for an NGO and take care of their social media, and then I also do my own work on my own brand, Hannah's Golden. And then I help companies, usually startups and creatives, with some strategy and creative ideas, a lot of mindset work as well. That's in a nutshell. And sometimes I DJ as well.
I would love to talk with you about working with a marketing specialist like you, because obviously some people are going to take responsibility for it for themselves because they don't have the budget maybe to delegate that. But once we are in a position as a filmmaker, as an actor, as a dance company where we can delegate that to somebody like you, I feel there are some people in that field that ask a lot of money for absolutely zero result, and they just like throwing sort of fairy dust in your eyes. Like I remember a friend of mine recently, he was ready to, I think it was 8,000 euros for a couple of months of having a digital media specialist. But when I looked at what she said she would do, it didn't reflect those 8,000 euros investment, if that makes sense. It felt like, yeah, okay, you're going to free a couple of hours for yourself, but it didn't lead to results. It didn't lead to proper analysis of the statistics. It didn't lead to a proper analysis of the product that he was working on. Number one is, how do we work with somebody like you? And number two, how do we avoid, I don't want to say scams, because I don't think that this woman was particularly a scam. I just think that her product was too highly priced for what she was offering. And I think when you are in a position where you don't fully know what a social media specialist can do for you can sort of fall for that, but then you might also be very disappointed because you don't really know what you should ask them for, if that makes sense. So how do we
Yeah.
work with somebody like you, and what should be the expectations?
Yeah, that's also a great question because it's a jungle out there. Since also the changes of the algorithms and everything, you need a person if you're gonna get consultancy from someone that's knows what's going on. And there's many like specialists in, maybe someone is really great at Facebook or great at Facebook ads, and someone else is great on TikTok ads. So it's also okay, where do you want to focus? So maybe before you start even talking to anyone, you want to get your mind straight. Okay, where do I want to grow, or who do I want to reach? And then that makes you a better person, like a better buyer of services, I would say. Because someone that comes to me and be like, okay, I need to go viral, I need to be the biggest account on Instagram. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to work with you because you don't know what you want. Like, it's too much. Like, you want the whole cake, but you don't know what flavor you want. So yeah, you can shop around and have conversations beforehand, like with different people that are working in marketing. Because there's people that work at big agencies, they have a little bit different ways of working. Maybe talk to someone like that. Maybe talk to someone that's a solopreneur and doing, like, just working by themselves. So there's kind of, yeah, see what goes on out there. And for me personally, I like to teach people, like as a dance teacher, like I like to teach people how to do it themselves so they can be confident posting themselves and learning. And then maybe like when they have if they like bigger budget comes in, then they can hire people, and they already gonna know this is how it worked when I was posting, and then they can direct the person that they hire to do this work better. So I think it's great to learn as much as you can before you hire people to do it, for you. So it can be a combination, like both of my mindset work and like maybe working on people, like their confidence, getting their confidence up, or digging, okay, what's actually you think there's some qualities you have, but maybe you don't think about it yet. So that's like how I work with them. I'm like, all right, what about this aspect of your life? That can be really interesting to people. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah, try it. And then a combination of teaching them like how to edit videos or how to post, etc.
I love what you said. Try to become a better buyer of services. That is so important, becoming a better buyer of services, knowing what we want, not hesitating to shop around, and have some sort of basic skills so that you can basically interview the people you're going to work with.
Exactly.
So from what I understand is if we wanted to work with somebody like you, is number one is know which platform we would want to make grow, because different people have different specializations. So don't expect somebody that is a social media specialist to know all the platforms. They might have a specialty. Are there any other questions that we should ask them? If you say shop around, what sort of questions should we ask them?
That ask them what are their strengths and what are their weaknesses. And if they don't admit that they have any weaknesses, then they're probably not good, because everyone needs to know, okay, what is, this is my specialty. This is what I'm really good at. And then admit, okay, I'm like, I admit that I'm not the greatest at paid ads. Like I can do basic stuff, but I'm not like paid ads specialist. So that I'm going to delegate to someone else. For example, that maybe ask them for case studies, like things they've done in the past, examples. If they're just starting out, then maybe you can have a trial period, for 3 months, for example. So you see, because sometimes upcoming people that just came out of school can be really hungry and do a lot of things, but sometimes maybe they need that background of knowing how to do things because they've done it for years. So it can be a mix. It's not a bad thing to beginner, but sometimes it can also be, if you've done it for 20 years, then maybe you get stuck in your ways. And yeah, so it's a combination of that.
What's the difference between working with solopreneurs and agencies in the field of social media marketing?
So for agencies, they usually have different people with different expertises. So just someone that only works with video editing, someone that only does graphics. So usually also it's a pretty high cost because all these people need to get paid. But they have maybe like all these, like in the house at their agency, they have all this expertise. And a solopreneur, maybe, yeah, like I said before, can be good at a wide spectrum, but maybe not great at all. Or they have a niche, like, and this is what I do as a solopreneur. So that's what you need to suss out. And also, of course, like personality wise, it needs to be someone that you vibe with, in the sense that you trust. Trust is the main huge thing. If you're giving someone your password to your social, that's giving them a lot of access. So trust, seeing, okay, what are their strengths and what are their weaknesses. So what am I going to pay them for to focus on? Like, it's better to tell them to focus on something maybe smaller. Like, I want you to focus on only editing videos or whatever it is, than to like make me big on all the platforms. So yeah, I would say it's good to keep in mind.
You said that you're working on mindset with people. So does your career as a social media specialist help you work on people's mindset? Tell us more.
Well, that's also like coming in from different angles. Since I am a creative, I worked as creative, I know how it is to be on that side. And then I also have to wear this hat of more of the business person and talking about marketing. And I noticed through my own experience as well, that it's so much about mindset. It's so much about getting to know yourself to be able to reach out as well to the masses, if you want to say, or to your target audiences. So I try to help artists with, getting over these mental bumps, we can call them, because a lot of times that's the biggest hurdle. Like, people want to blame the algorithms, but usually it's your own, like the voices in your head and like maybe the expectations of yourself that stops you from reaching the next level. So it's a lot about mindset, a combination of knowing the know-hows, the technical stuff of editing videos, etc. So yeah, I come from two different places in that sense.
So you have a background as a DJ. You've also worked alongside singers and artists as well. And obviously you have been and are still a dancer, especially in the world of hip hop and dancehall. So you said people often blame the algorithms. So what are other sort of mindset challenges that people need to get over? Can you clarify a little bit? Is it the type of content that they need to create? Is it doubting the content? Is it being scared to go viral or being scared to be vulnerable on social media? What are the challenges they have to overcome?
A keyword, vulnerability, because people, they want to come out and be perfect with whatever you're doing, and you think you have to be perfect when you deliver it. But so much of the process of promoting yourself or promoting a brand or a product, it's about trying and challenging yourself, challenging your own, beliefs, or maybe you know that you're really good at something, but then when you think, okay, but now I have to go to social media, and then I don't know anything about social media. Whatever you're good at, it's gonna, if you dare to take the step to put yourself out there, then it's gonna reach another level. So it's a combination of working with your own development and your own mindset. The main challenge, I would say, is vulnerability and putting yourself out there and maybe looking stupid. Like I always told my dance students in the beginning, don't expect you to be a perfect dancer. That's why you're coming to class, to have fun and look stupid in the beginning. And the same thing goes for social media. You're not going to be a professional, perfect social media person right away. It's a learning curve. So put yourself in the beginner's mindset. Maybe you're a professional or you're expert in one area, and that's great, and you're going to help people with that. But maybe when it comes to putting yourself on social media, that's when you need to go back to, okay, I'm a beginner at this. Be humble, be vulnerable, and then with each content you post, you're going to learn.
So how can people create, let's say, vulnerable content without exposing, obviously, their deepest self that they're not ready to expose? But how can we create vulnerable content that is more than just factual, right? If I'm working on a short film, instead of saying, hey, here is a short film, how can I add that little personal touch that still has vulnerability? Can you give us an example of maybe somebody that you've coached or something that you've done yourself on social media that has worked?
Everything that lets people in on something that you are willing to show of your personal life or your personal story. That's always something, because people connect with people, don't connect with someone that's a robot that's going to just sell something. So for example, I'm working with an artist now. He's a singer, he's upcoming, and he was having these thoughts like, I don't want to show myself too much, or how much am I going to show? But, and he was testing things out. Like, he wasn't too sure posting it, but he was testing things out, or what do I feel comfortable with? So he found certain aspects of his life, like him hanging out with some of his family members, just doing walking in the woods, him having fun with his musicians in the studio, trying out different sounds. So it can be, often at times it's the things you don't think about in the first, when you just start to think up ideas, open to what's going on. Of course, you have your boundaries, right? I'm not going to show this and that from my life, but there's a lot of things that's happening in your life that maybe, you never know. Like, this could be something that at least I enjoy it. Maybe others will enjoy it. And usually it's like that when it's something that you generally are passionate about. And it could be the nichest thing. That's what people connect with. So a combination of showing something of your personal story and something quirky, so to speak, or something that maybe you don't expect.
Yeah, so what I'm really getting from what you're saying is it can be in the smallest little things that we share, like a walk in the woods, but basically it's about showing that we are a human being with a human life, and that we're not we're not a logo. Our face is not a logo. We are real human beings that are doing real human things.
Exactly.
I would love to talk about you as a dancer, because you were a dancer in New York. You had a long career in New York, and like every dancer, you were just like working really hard, and you had a career like every artist with up and downs. And then you're moving back to Sweden, you go into a new path, being a social media specialist, and you go viral. So can you talk about that journey, both what that meant to you as an artist and also what happened? How comes that you went viral, and how did you live that experience?
In a smaller scale, I would say, maybe you see these artists and they seem to come out of nowhere, and people are like, this is a one-hit wonder. This person just got lucky or something. And so when I think back of my dance career in that sense, I put in so many years. We met in the beginning of our international careers, and trying different things, going to different classes, just trying to absorb as much, learn as much as possible. and then starting to teach as well, of course. And in New York, I learned that you can't just be a dancer. You need other skills to survive. That's why I picked up DJing. I learned more about the music industry, for example. So the dancing was the motivator that pushed me forward in life to network, also learn how to network and learn about marketing and the technicalities. But after some years in New York, a lot. I had to do so many like different side jobs to get by, to pay my rent, projects that you had high hopes for, and then it didn't turn out the way you wanted to. So, learning from all the mistakes. And then I was really tired after almost 10 years in New York. So I was like, all right, I feel like I'm just pushing my head against the wall here. Nothing's really happening. I'm not going forward really. So I was like, okay, I need to take a break from it all. That's why I moved back to Sweden and put the dancing on the shelf, so to speak, because I was like, I feel like I accomplished some things. Maybe I didn't get as far as I wanted to, but at least I felt I gotten somewhere, of course. Like without New York, I don't know where I would be. So I was like, okay, I'm going to focus on the marketing now, because I was already into marketing, but I was like, I'm going to put my whole focus into it. And then when TikTok came along, and I thought, okay, I need to learn TikTok because it's a big marketing tool. So I just used myself as the experiment to learn about the platform. So I just started doing different things like skits, using different sounds, more like funny stuff, humor. And of course, I thought I can also use myself as a dancer because it's popular on this app. So I started experimenting with different dances and jumping on different dance trends. And especially when I started doing my laundry room dance skits or short dance videos, that's when I started going viral. And I didn't expect that at all. It wasn't my goal to go to promote my own dancing because I was done with dancing. That was my former life. So it was a big surprise, but also very powerful to see how social media can change your life in a sense, and to how you can reach people because I knew the people that from promoting my classes and all that before in New York and everywhere. I knew who like the people who were my core audience. So I noticed, okay, I can actually reach these people also, but also reach a wider audience than them through social media. So many learnings and so much joy as well, because the comment sections are very positive and encouraging. So it's been a very uplifting aspect that I didn't expect at all. That also complemented my own marketing career when I work with brands, because I learned from me going viral and posting. I learn all the time, and I learn especially how you can never really trust anything. Now I'm big on this platform, I'm good, I don't need to go and learn this new one. No, you need to try different platforms to stay relevant as well. So it's a continuous journey.
So we'll talk about the different platforms a little bit later, but can you tell us how many views did you actually get when you went viral? Because I think you went viral several times with those laundry dance videos. How many views did you get?
Maybe the one that had the most views is about 4.5 million. And then I have maybe 10 videos that have over 1 million at least. So I haven't really counted them lately, but yeah, so it's been quite many views.
And what made it so successful? Because obviously that's, the question that all artists are asking themselves is what can make a video so successful? You are dancing while doing your laundry in the laundry room. And is it because you were posting often? Was it consistency? Was it a particular video that was just more funnier than others? Like what made it successful in terms of, because you were testing things on yourself. What were you actually testing?
It's a number of different factors, I think. So it's like unexpected. I'm a Asian woman, and then I do dance hall, and I'm pretty good at it. And then I post consistently. I'm trying different functions of the platforms, like replying to comments, for example, replying to comments with a video, because the algorithms, they can help you in a way. So I'm trying to see like, okay, what can I do to just surf on the algorithms in a way. So yeah, it's really a combination. I was trying to keep up also, like replying to comments and keeping conversations going in the comment section, because that also counts. And plus it's fun because it's very, especially on TikTok, the comment sections are usually like full of comedy. So yeah, I think those are the main things. So checking out what's trending or what's popular, but making it your own version. maybe show something unexpected or twist something around that's people are thinking like, all right, this is what this is about. But then maybe you make it a plot twist. Keep up with the different technical aspects of the platforms. What can you try to use? And that might give you a boost for free. And and stay social on the social platforms.
If I have to summarize what you just said now, jump on a trend, give a plot twist to the trend, engage in comments, stay consistent. I have a question about the trends. Some people are very aware about what's trendy, and other people have no idea what's even trending. How can we become more aware of a trend?
I spend a lot of time surfing and scrolling, so that's how I'm aware. There's, especially on TikTok, you can do searches. If you're in a certain niche or certain keywords, you can do, if you go up on on a search, you can type in a sentence or a couple of different words. Then you can also trickle down that search and you can divide into like this word, for example, a smoothie with spinach. Then you can type in, okay, what the latest videos with those two words in the last month or last week or last 24 hours. And then you can see, okay, what's actually like trending right now or what's been happening with these words for a period of time, or you can see which videos has the most likes talking about this subject. So that's a very like a quicker way to find your audience and or what are the other creators doing in your niche. So the search bar in especially TikTok is very useful because it functions like Google these days. People use it as Google. And also, when I say trends, I don't get too locked in with like people like, but I don't want to do trends. Yeah, but you can use a slight aspect of a trend and then make it your own. It's what we do as creatives. Right? We create something new, but you don't always have to invent everything from scratch. Like TikTok is a very collaborative platform, so you can take inspiration, give that person credit if you take a big chunk of their content or if you get inspired, and then make it your own. That I would say is very useful, and also physical collaboration with other people on these platforms are usually very successful as well.
So you said that people are using TikTok searches now a little bit like Google. Are these TikTok trends, do they translate to Instagram? Are they the same trends? For example, if you have a trend on TikTok, will the same trend work on Instagram or on Facebook or on YouTube? I don't know. Or does each platform have their own trend in a specific moment in time?
I would say maybe around 70%, if I would just guess a number, goes over to Instagram. So it's quite a lot of trends that eventually end up on Instagram. The time span is getting a little bit closer. Before it was maybe 3-4 weeks or months after people come, oh, have you seen this on Instagram? I saw this on TikTok like 4 months ago. But some trends translate pretty quick. So I would say that's why I encourage people to post what you're posting on TikTok. You might as well try to post it on Instagram as well, because people are moving faster these days.
And when it comes to algorithms, how do they work? Apparently they change all the time as well. Is there anything that you can demystify for us in regards to algorithms?
I'm not an algorithm maker. I'm always also trying to figure out what's happening. But basically you want to get too stuck in thinking like you want to please the algorithm. You want to reach the target people. So if you think about that instead of thinking just algorithms, then eventually your content is going to find its way to your peoples. So if that's using what you're saying in your videos, what you're talking about, the subjects, if it's about you're into flowers, for example, you're painting flowers, you're writing books about flowers, different ways to find the people, if with keywords, the words you put in your videos, the words you put under the caption text, different ways. If you interact with other people that are talking about the same thing, go into their comment sections. Don't go into the comment section and be like, hi, I'm also doing this and look at my page. Be generous. It's like meeting someone in real life. You don't want to be like, oh, hi. You don't hit them straight away with what you want to sell them. You want to, make friends, so to speak, or be sociable. And then people maybe, they want to go and check out your page. Or if you want to do collaboration with this person that's getting a lot of traction or talking about similar things. And it's the same thing like doing a podcast and you're interviewing another podcaster. It's like rings on the water. So same way there. So don't get too stuck just thinking algorithms, but thinking about, okay, how can I reach these people? And if this doesn't work, okay, try another way, like maybe side from up or down. Yeah. That's when the algorithm can either help you or stop you. So that's what you have to play around with.
I love what you said about leaving comments in people's videos, because I always feel very shy. Like sometimes I can follow people's work on Instagram, but I feel shy actually to comment. And actually, because of the podcast, I started commenting more because I'm so excited about the podcast. And I'm like, hey, I
Yeah.
love your work. I would love to connect. By the way, I have a
Mm,
podcast. And then we start
mm,
talking in DMs. But like
mm,
you said, it's like a real life conversation. It doesn't feel like I'm not selling anything. They're not selling anything. We're literally just connecting because we are on the same wavelength for some
exactly.
reason or another. So you talked about creating content for your target audience, so know who you're speaking to. So make sure that whatever you say in the video is really related to your target audience. What about hashtags? Are hashtags still a thing? And if yes, how can we use them to the fullest?
The broad, wide hashtags, for example, if you use the word podcast, that's very wide, right? So maybe niche it down to the subject you're talking about today, or the niche of music that you're doing, or but and also it goes up and down, like with the algorithms. Like sometimes hashtag matter, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes when I don't use any hashtags, and also because of SEO, search engine optimization, maybe you don't even have to hashtag the word. You can use the word, and that works fine as well. Yeah, don't get too caught up in the hashtag game. Don't add too many hashtags. Like less is more, I would say. So you can try different posts, like maybe one hashtag, no, one without one, maybe two, three hashtags, but maximum four, I would say four-ish. So you don't want to like overdo it, really.
Awesome. That's really good to know, actually. So, question, you have a massive background in dance. How do you think dance gave you the skills to become a better marketer and a better entrepreneur? Because obviously you're consulting now, you're giving one-to-one coaching and so forth. How did dance give you the mindset or the skills as a freelance entrepreneur in the world of marketing?
I guess I got into it a little bit earlier. To be able to go after a passion, you have to put yourself out there, be vulnerable. To teach people, you gotta use your voice and find ways to reach people so they can adapt, like what you're trying to tell them. And with dance classes, is like then you teach them how to move their bodies. So it's all a combination of that. To be driven by a passion, something that you love, and then finding, okay, do I love teaching, or do I love more performing, or do I love both? It's all a process of, okay, what do I want to do right now, or what do I want to focus on right now? Because it's through life, it will change. Maybe before, when I moved to New York, I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I didn't really think about the future. And then life happens and the focuses change. So wherever you are right now, think about, okay, what can I do to amplify myself, or how can I get better? How can I reach people on the socials or in real life, and put yourself in position to maximize your growth, I would say. Because if I never, like, I grew up on a little island in the Baltic Sea, right? And without any internet, really, back in the days, there was hardly any social. If I would stay there, it would be hard for me to grow and become viral later in life. So my journey was to leave, physically move, get to know new people, expand my network, go to New York, expand my network even more, go to Jamaica to learn about the foundations of what I want, what I was passionate about. So whatever you were passionate about, like try to learn as much as you can from the creators. Maybe go travel to those places where it's from. It became a long story now, but it's everything's connected, and everything takes time as well. So don't stress yourself out if you're in your early 20s, for example. You feel like, oh, I want to reach this right now. I want to be here now. I want to have a million subscribers. But if you take a breath and take, okay, well, one step at a time, and how can I actually build a good foundation for myself to step, and then step out and maybe do something else in the future, but still have knowledge from whatever you've done, like, before. When you change careers, you always take something with you in your backpack.
In regards to social media and promoting yourself as an artist, you have lived and worked in different countries. So obviously there is Sweden, there is New York, Jamaica, Belgium, Nigeria. There are many countries that have had an impact on you, and where you know the different creative industries very well. Do you feel people relate to social media in a different way, or use it in a different way, or you connect with your community in a different way depending on where you live, or not?
Great question. I think when I was in Nigeria, that's when my mind really expanded a lot, because there's so many, especially also like creatives that hardly have anything, but they create amazing content with such high quality that I've never really seen anywhere in that, in that way. So I was blown away about how inventive, entrepreneurial people were there, like with so little resources. So that was really a big inspiration and motivator for me as well. Yeah, each country has its own, of course, its own cultures and challenges. Korea is, has been a very closed culture country, I would say, or they stay with, okay, what's Korean is good, compared to maybe Japan, that's been very like, okay, what's out in the world, and they've been traveling around a lot more, and it reflects also in how people treat social media, of course. So yeah, learning from each trip, and from also, that's why I try to follow people from around the world as well. That's a good advice, I would say, to recommend to people, to follow the people in different geographies, but also in different niches, to see, okay, what are people doing, because it's easy to get stuck in a bubble. So maybe I recommend also to have different accounts for yourself. Maybe one account that's more for exploring and seeing, like getting inspired from different cultures, and then maybe one account that's more of your business focus, I would say, because the algorithms kind of, shape your, it shapes your feed, and it also shapes who sees your content. That's a recommendation. I know maybe it sounds a lot to have different accounts, but it can be helpful. So, and also to not get stuck in your little bubble.
I think that's great advice to have different accounts. I have different accounts because I have my nonprofit, I have Cindy the artist, and because obviously I both accounts were created at a different period of my time. Actually, the
Mm,
algorithms are working differently, and I'm seeing different things on my feed. And you're right,
exactly.
it
Mm,
starts shaping the way you see the world. And why not try and watch different things so that the algorithms open up doors and inspiration for you. I want to go back to the example that you give about Nigeria. You said that you were very impressed by the way they created content with very little resources. Can you give an example? How did they create with very little resources, and for what purpose?
yeah, some of the first content creators I encountered in Nigeria were dancers, because I connect with dancers very easily, and I was so impressed by the quality of their content. Sometimes they use very good cameras, or just sometimes they just use phones, but the quality, like the videographers, sometimes the videographers were also dancers, but how they shot things, how they edited things, and post production there was so mind blowing. And I don't think they have any formal education in anything. I think that's a natural skill, plus maybe they just learned from YouTube, probably. Comparing that, for example, with America, people get a lot of things served, or in Sweden, people get served like all these fancy equipment, or it's easier to get them, but the videos don't have that high quality. So that was a big wow for me to be like, right, it's about your creativity and how you use the technology that you have.
Let's talk about community building. You have already touched about it a little bit. You said engage with your followers, engage with people that comment, reply to the comments. Are there Is there any other advice you could give to artists on how to truly build community in the long term? So not people that are just like liking one video and commenting there, but how can we really engage with people in the long term?
Yeah, so I would actually recommend the old school way, to do a newsletter or collect people's emails, even phone numbers if they want to, because that's where you can reach people directly into their email. Because just even if people follow you, usually they don't see your videos, even because the algorithms, they want to show them so many different things. So yeah, gathering their emails is a great tool. And also many subscription type services are presented now. I haven't really ventured into them that much, but it works for some people. I think maybe it's easier if you have really like a huge following, or if you're very niched, I would say. So that can also be a good tool to, so people pay a smaller amount, but you provide them with content that only them can see, for example. Yeah, those are the two main advice I would say right now: newsletter and subscription. Try subscription based content distribution.
So let's talk about the different platforms. Maybe we can talk about Instagram and Facebook first. What would be your general advice for artists, creatives, filmmakers, dancers, actors that are on these platforms? What are some do's and some don'ts?
Yes. So, well, can come together, Facebook and Insta, because they're owned by the same company. It's called Meta. Of course, Facebook has a slightly older, crowd hanging out there, and Insta's a little bit younger, but they're quite similar, I would say. But still, Insta is the biggest one. So the good thing about Instagram is that you can reach a wide audience. So with Instagram, you can do this collaboration post, for example. So that's a really great tool, and also to connect with other people. You can have maybe different accounts that you can do your collaboration post with. And also stories is a great tool to do quick updates, what's going on, without thinking too much about it. Because sometimes people watch your story more than they're going to watch your post. So those tools are really great to use. And also you can do different countdowns if you're having an event. And you can save those stories also to highlights. So those are some of my favorite functions with Instagram. And also you can see easily who, if you have a video that's being very popular, or like you feel like, oh, this has viral potential, you can also go in and see who's sharing your video, even though they don't tag you. You can go in and see if you press these 3 dots on the right corner of your post on your feed, not on your real feed, but on your main feed. Then you can go and see who's reposting your video, for example, and you can thank them, give them a heart, give them a thank you for sharing my content. And usually people that maybe they don't follow you, but they share your video, and then they're like, oh, she's actually showing appreciation, and then they start following, for example. So it's a good way to be social and also show like that you appreciate their support. So those are the good things with Insta, but also it's a very crowded platform. So I guess that's like the tough part as well. It's tough to reach, as if you're just starting an account. If you're very new there, that's when it comes to, don't focus on how many followers you have or how many likes, especially in the beginning, but focus on reaching your target people. Because I noticed that Instagram, their algorithm is getting better. When I'm liking different things, they show me, it's getting more and more like TikTok. They're showing me according to my interest, what I've been watching.
What are your thoughts on Facebook groups? Is it worth to have a Facebook group? Is it too much investment in terms of time? Is there not enough return on investment, or is it a great way to actually build community?
It could be a great way. I haven't started Facebook groups really myself. I'm part of a few, and I kind of scroll on Facebook sometimes, but I'm not that invested. So I don't think it has the value it used to have. But also depending if it's a niche that people want to be in a community, then yeah, it can be really helpful. So it's investigate it, maybe try it out, see if it works, but don't put maybe like too much of your hopes into Facebook groups. Maybe it's better to you're being a part of different Facebook groups and seeing what's going on, and then you can take inspiration. Okay, what works? So what are people getting excited about in those groups? And you can use that knowledge. So it's also a tool for learning.
Let's talk about TikTok, the wild, wild west of TikTok. I know that you love that platform, and you actually have a lot of clients that you put on that platform, or you creating content, or you create their strategy for that platform. Tell us more about TikTok and why this is actually a platform full of opportunities for creative people and artists.
Yes, I love TikTok, but me and TikTok, we have a toxic relationship. So it's up and down. No, but really, it's still in the beginning, it was much easier to go viral or to reach people. And now, because it's every platform, they want to make money, so they have advertisers coming in and they're taking up space. But there's still chances of, especially chances of reaching your target audience. It's harder to go viral, I would say. So don't come in there and expect to go viral, but expect to, okay, this is the platform that's going to help me to reach my peoples, because that's what I still see is working well. And also, of course, like being vulnerable is, like the people always say that you don't have to put on makeup like they used to be on Instagram, like you don't have to be perfect. And of course, that's still true. But some people, if you want to make really nice, cool, clean, really great edited videos, that's also, there's a lot of appreciation for that as well. So to sum it up, there's still possibilities, and there's still a lot of potential to reach your peoples, especially if you're a creative on there. And also use the because I get inspired from scrolling or watching other people on TikTok, and I make my own videos, and then I post it also on Instagram. So I get my boost of inspiration on TikTok, and then I can use that for whatever platform.
Would you say that on TikTok that people of all ages are on TikTok nowadays, or is it still for a much younger crowd?
When it comes to content creators, there's all ages. And usually, if you're a little bit older, for example, you can do very well just because you stick out and you're doing something that's considered, oh, how can this person do this when they're this age? Or if you're a younger age and you're doing something that maybe older people usually do, that something that sticks out. So I really highly encourage people that are not typical TikTokers, go on there because you're going to find people that really appreciate that you're doing this. The audience is still slightly younger than I would say on Instagram and Facebook, especially. But there's so many also 30, 40, 50-year-olds that's just scrolling there as well. Like most people, probably 90% of people on TikTok don't post anything themselves. They just scroll and watch. So there's a lot of people on it. Maybe the people that are commenting and doing more active stuff are the younger people.
So you're saying that we can post low production value videos on TikTok and that people just love those videos without makeup and anything. We see a lot of, I would say, influencers on Instagram that produce beautiful pictures, beautifully edited videos. Like you can see that they put time and effort and sweat in the quality of what they're putting out there. And then some people are very raw, right? So what would you recommend to people that might not have all the technical skills to produce the best photos and the best videos? Would you say only go for perfect? Go with what you got? Go with the raw? Wait until you're ready and you can show something that's of higher quality? What would be your take on that?
Of course, I'm going to say go with what you got. The most important thing is that you start to post because you're going to learn with everything you do. And it's going to be a progress. Like we said, you're not going to be a professional superstar right away. Start with your old dingy phone or whatever it is. Maybe it's going to be shaky or whatever. But the most important thing is that you're starting to talk to your audience. And then down the line, maybe you want to take a class and learning more about editing, or you want to do coaching sessions with me or whoever can teach you a little bit more about the technicalities. I see many people that start off with the shaky, like low quality videos, but then they advance and then maybe they hire someone in the end to do it for them. But yeah, start with what you got. The most important thing is to start.
I would also love to talk about a very personal story of yours that you have started to be very vocal about on social media. In your biography, you often refer to you being imported from South Korea to Sweden. Can you tell us more about what that means for you and why you decided also to share that on social media?
Yeah. So because I grew up in with a white mother, it's been hard. I can never deny or hide that I was adopted, but I have maybe not. I didn't really share it that much before. Maybe just small details here and there. But in my own personal journey, and when I started going to Korea, when my first trip back to Korea was in 2014, and I was already putting myself on social media with dancing. I was like, no, this is happening in my life, so I want to share it with people, and maybe it can also inspire people to search for their roots, whether they're adopted or not. So I started sharing bits and pieces, and with because also I thought I was going to be able to share a lot more, but then when it got really personal or I got very emotional situations, I was like, oh no, I can't film myself and do this at the same time. So that was also a learning for me to don't push yourself too much to put things on social media. Like sometimes you need to heal and go through some things, and then maybe then you can start posting after or whatever works for you. Everyone has their own processes. But I noticed also when I started sharing this story, maybe different people started DMing me like, "Thank you for sharing this. I could really relate." Or even though I'm not adopted, I felt something. Yeah, when people expressed that they're thankful and yeah, you should actually please just, share more of this, and I was all right. Okay, if this is doing something for others, then I'm gonna insert it here and there. So it's been that's been in my feed as well from time to time.
What would you say in the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself going in the next 5 years? Not just professionally, but in terms of who you want to be as a woman in the world. Do you feel you want to talk more about adoption? Do you want to give space on your platform to talk about that theme? Or do you want to talk more about dancers? Or is there another field where you feel like you want to open the doors for conversations around certain themes in the next 5 years?
Good question, because as multi-hyphenates and multi-passionate people, there's so many different aspects you want to highlight at the same time. But I think I'm trusting the process here. Yeah. And especially when it comes to adoption, I maybe start a podcast and let other people talk, because I'm like an expert in my journey, but there's, when it comes to the whole industry or what's going on in politics, that I'm not an expert when it comes to that, and other people are way more knowledgeable. So maybe I want to give them a platform to speak in some type of way. And of course, like, I want to be as a dancer as well. I want to continue to grow and learn. So we'll see how that will work out, combining it with my marketing career as well. It's not, I have a crystal clear path right now. I'm in my exploration phase, I would say. And I'm just excited for what the future will bring, because it will bring something golden. And I just don't know exactly what it is right now. But I'm just keep posting what I feel comes naturally, and what challenges me, like okay, how can I push myself to do this, or how can I try to get into this area. And also collaborating with people and having conversations with people like you, and just being inspired what people are doing, and then seeing, okay, how can I apply this to my own journey.
Has your knowledge in regards to social media and digital marketing, has it changed your relationship with your art? So you're dancing, you're DJing. Has something changed in your relationship with your creative practice?
Yes, when it comes to okay, how can I phrase this? I think it also has to do with my personal journey. Before, maybe I wanted to keep it up close. I only work with these people, but now I'm okay. I was forced to open my mind. Okay, now it's maybe I have to let down my guard. I have to let down my pride, or to keep something. Oh, this is mine. No, let it go. Like, it's the world's. You belong to the world. If you put yourself on social media, and also don't take it too personally, but also be a part of the community that's happening online. Because sometimes as artists, I'm high on this throne. Of course, we're amazing, we're creatives. Also be open to collaborate, open to take inspiration, and also people are gonna get inspired by what you're doing without stealing your content, of course. But don't be too proud, I would say. Don't let the pride knock you down.
Two questions to wrap up. So the first one is, you went viral. You had, I don't know how many millions of views, which is crazy. Do you feel you've had that moment of, I have made it, at some point?
In the sense of, because my goal has always been with dancing to get respected as a dancer, not to become famous. And then now I've become niche famous. It's been a treat to be like, all right, many people are now validating that I'm pretty good at what I'm doing. So that's a big ego boost, of course. Money wise, making money directly from the platforms, or doing big collaborations with brands, is not where I'm at yet. I'm working towards it in my own pace. But so money wise, that millions of views are not translating to millions of dollars yet. Okay. And you can keep that in your head as well. Like, when you see a lot of creators, when they go super viral, that doesn't automatically mean that they are rich or that they're getting super rich. Some do, of course, but many don't. So that's when you have to think about, okay, the next step, what do I want to do with this video? Is it just for fun, or do I want to make it more of a source of income?
So number one, it's a choice. Do you want to make it a source of income or not? And number two, you'd need to figure out what the back end is of how you're going to translate eventually these views into paying customers, whether you have merch, like you have a brand now, like you selling some merch. And then to wrap up this interview, Hanna, what is your mantra and your advice, I would say, for all the people that are on social media? Social media can actually, you can have a burnout of posting content, of promoting yourself and everything else. What is your mantra and your advice to everybody that is listening?
So to avoid burnout, do what actually brings you joy. Talk about the things that you're passionate about. Don't just, like we talked about trends, but don't follow the trends because it's trendy. Follow the trends that you feel like you can insert your passion in. So that's how I get inspiration to to start to keep creating. Because whenever I feel like I'm starting to get signs of burnout, I'm like, all right, okay, I have to dial down, maybe post less to come back to, okay, what do I actually like doing? So every winter I go down into a darker hole. And I'm like, I don't have energy to post. But then at a certain point, I get my inspiration back, or I get it through scrolling to my feeds, or look at what other people are doing, or just doing meditation for myself. You take breaks, yeah, to go to and find your spark of joy.
Where can people find you on social media, Hanna?
Hanna is golden, is everywhere. Hanna without a H at the end, because I'm Swedish. All the platform hannaisgolden.com is my merch shop. I'm going to expand that website as well. Yeah, Hanna is golden.
Thank you so much for all the inspiration that you shared today, Hanna. And we will definitely keep in touch. And guys, don't forget to also check out her t-shirt shop.
Yay. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you for everything you're doing.